It was pretty much exactly what I was hoping for, and it was just like a normal gold bar, except it was pinkish purple, and I was really happy with how it turned out. However, I knew that starting with something complicated like a ring would be a horrible idea, and it would introduce a whole bunch of new issues, so instead, I decided to just make a simple little bar. In particular, though, I really wanted to make one that looked exactly like a typical gold bar, except that it was purple, and I went ahead and melted a bunch more metal. After that, I went and got one of my small bar molds, and this time, I was gonna blast it until it was red hot. I was really hoping that this would prevent the metal from freezing and help it fill the mold better, and when I felt that I was ready, I carefully poured it in. I was a bit concerned that I was gonna miss or something, but it all turned out fine, and I was really happy to see that it easily filled the entire mold. I then let it all slowly cool down, and when it was eventually around room temperature, I had to get it out of the mold, and I was a bit worried that it might be stuck. However, that clearly wasn't the case, and it just easily fell out, and this made it pretty clear to me that there was no issue with molding it. There was, of course, still one problem though, and that was how ugly it was, and what I had to do next was see if I could actually turn it into something nice. To do this, I decided to just sand it by hand, which wasn't exactly ideal, but I didn't want to lose any of the precious gold dust. Unsurprisingly, though, this turned out to be super tedious and difficult, and it ended up taking 10 hours to get it into a shape that I liked. I then polished it by moving up to finer and finer sandpapers, and when I eventually felt that it looked good, I annealed it, and this was the final result. It was pretty much exactly what I was hoping for, and it was just like a normal gold bar, except it was pinkish purple, and I was really happy with how it turned out. The only thing that I thought was odd was that it didn't seem nearly as purple as my other piece, and this one kind of looked like it was a light pink. However, after a bunch of testing, I found that this was mostly just because it was way shinier, which made it appear a lot brighter, and I'll talk more about this later on. With all that being said, though, being able to make this fully proved to me that it was definitely possible to cast and clean up the purple gold, and at this point, I was feeling pretty excited.